everyone, and welcome to Caribbean Focus TV, where we bring you the latest community events, news, and highlights that matter most to you. I'm your host, Darnett Lowndes, and today we're shining well-deserved spotlight on an incredible event celebrating Women's History Month 2025. This year, Councilman Austin E. Thompson Jr. proudly presented the 4th Annual Women of Influence in Leadership event, a powerful gathering that honored and recognized phenomenal women making a difference in our communities. Held at the Beautiful Edge Events venue in Lawrenceville, Georgia, this celebration brought together inspiring leaders from various fields who are supporting the future through work and advocacy. The event featured an outstanding lineup of influential women, including the moderator, Marissa Williams, who asked very interesting questions to the panelists. We had Dr. Jan Dry Joseph, president of Georgia Gwinnett College, Lisa Marie Bristol, Solicitor General of Gwinnett County, and Carol Pence, co-founder and producing artistic director of Aurora Theater, and Triana Arnold James, president of Georgia Now.
My next question is about your career specifically. So looking back, what's one pivotal moment that significantly shaped your career, and what did you learn from it?
Oh my gosh, I reflect on this so often. People ask me questions like, one thing that made a difference. When you get to the places that we find ourselves, it's so tough to say that it was one thing. And maybe I watch too much Star Trek, but I always remind myself, I'm a little bit of a nerd. I'm a little bit of a boring person. Just so you all know, don't think I'm all as, I'm just a really nerdy person sometimes. I don't know if I always say, is there a pivotal moment? And I know it sounds crazy, but to me, my pivotal moments are personal choices that I made. They're not so much professional choices. Yes, I said yes to this job offer. And this job offer offered or to apply for a particular job here. Because I had that role, then I could get this role, then I could get this role, I could get this role, and I could end up here. So I could say it was that one. But then, was it just the teacher in high school who taught me that I could use my voice effectively and how to use it? Was it that moment? And if I didn't learn that moment, then I wouldn't get these other moments. So it's so tough in a life when you sit where you are, as I am fortunate to feel that with the ups and downs and the trials, the tribulations I've had like everybody else in this room, the joys, the sorrows, like everybody else in this room, was there a moment? Was there a person? And for me, when I come to the person, it has to be my late husband. And I talk about him a lot, not because, he's some special person and I'm still in love with him and nobody would ever live up to him. All that is true. But I'm also in love with a really good, wonderful man who understands that too, that you can love two people. And there's no competition because one's dead, right? But at the same time, it was his recognition of my value and my worth as a woman. And this is why whenever I'm in circles of women and we talk about supporting one another and how we got where we got to, I always look for the man in the room and say, thank you for being the man in the room with the woman who, because men sometimes are the best things that happen to women. The right man is the best thing that could happen to a woman. So he was pivotal in my journey when I was offered an opportunity and I wasn't sure. He was the one to say, you could do that. And it changed my trajectory.
So this is a tough question. So I guess when I think about my career, I'm going to go back a bit. I was pre-med until my sophomore year of college. And so I knew from the age of 6 that I was going to be a pediatrician. And that's all I wanted to do. I am also a nerd and very into science. I didn't care about English, history, social studies, none of that. Give me my math, give me my science. It slips. And my mother, my elementary school principal was also Caribbean, and my high school principal was from Uganda. They were all friends with my mom, which was a horrible side effect, but nonetheless, and they would all say to me, "You're not going to be a doctor. You're going to be a lawyer." And I said, "I'm absolutely not going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be a pediatrician." And so for me, my pivotal moment really boils down to banana bonds, which sounds insane, but it's true. I'm sitting in my sophomore year in organic chemistry on a cold winter morning, and my professor comes in with his lunch pail. And he proceeds to tell us that we're going to talk about banana bonds today, which are covalent bonds, and they're exciting, and they form like this. And he is happy at 8:30 in the morning in the winter. And the man takes out his banana and lays on the dirty lecture floor to describe the best angle to look at them. And I remember literally sitting in that hall going, "I'm not going to be a doctor." Because he is clearly happy and passionate about this. And I'm not. And I was just like, I can do it, but I'm not going to lay on a dirty floor to talk about it. And I remember for me, it was just realization that whatever you do, you should do, and it shouldn't feel like a job. And that moment for me really showed me that I needed to keep looking for something that didn't feel like work and didn't feel like a chore every day. And a psychology and law class is what did it for me. So I took that course, everything clicked. I was very upset because I had to tell my mother and the principals that they were right. But I will say, like, that same high school principal was at my parents' house for my swearing in celebration a few years ago. So those relationships are relationships that poured into me straight through adulthood. So they've see, me grow up, me hit this milestone. They see my children. But I think that's probably one of the more pivotal moments, realizing it's okay to find a passion and knowing that, okay, I thought this was it. This is not it. It's okay to like step back and reassess and pivot and wait till you find that thing. And I remember literally sitting in that hall going, "I'm not going to be a doctor." Because he is clearly happy and passionate about this. And I'm not. And I was just like, I can do it, but I'm not going to lay on a dirty floor to talk about it. And I remember for me, it was just realization that whatever you do, you should do, and it shouldn't feel like a job. And that moment for me really showed me that I needed to keep looking for something that didn't feel like work and didn't feel like a chore every day. And a psychology and law class is what did it for me. So I took that course, everything clicked. I was very upset because I had to tell my mother and the principals that they were right. But I will say, like, that same high school principal was at my parents' house for my swearing in celebration a few years ago. So those relationships are relationships that poured into me straight through adulthood. So they've see, me grow up, me hit this milestone. They see my children. But I think that's probably one of the more pivotal moments, realizing it's okay to find a passion and knowing that, okay, I thought this was it. This is not it. It's okay to like step back and reassess and pivot and wait till you find that thing.
So I thought, I'll be an elementary school teacher. My mom's an elementary school teacher. That will be a great thing. I don't want to teach people how to play piano. So again, way to go. So I did my student teaching, and I just wanted to know in 1987 whose parents cared about 7th grade math. And that's what I was student teaching in, because my dad was a math teacher. And so I said, just take your paper home to your parents and have them sign it, just so I know that you told them about your math score. And so after I saw that even in 1987, a lot of people had 2 working parents, didn't see their two working parents. School maybe was already not starting to work like it did. And then I had all these papers. Like I had to fill out too much paperwork. Anybody who has known me for more than 5 minutes, I am not going to ever be able to do a career that fills out paperwork when I can talk to a child. They can't read, they can't add. I don't need to do a paper about they can't read, they can add. I just want to be able to help them learn how to add, learn how to read. And I can remember there was this child every day who came, walked his little girlfriend in 7th grade to my classroom, was late, and I was like, what about Gary? He's late. So the policy was, if you're late, you have to go to the principal's office. So every day, this child was late, and he was, I think, a couple grades late, older. So I think he was in 8th grade, but I think he had been held back. And I said, can't Gary just be in my math class? Because that way he's here, I have him captive, his little girlfriend's here. Well, I bet he doesn't know any of these math concepts, and if he does, no, and we need to move to an independent study, then I'll just teach him whatever the next level of math. They didn't like that idea. No, Gary has to walk up to the office. Well, Gary never walked up to the office. Gary walked out of the school. So that kind of peeved me off. Because I'm not necessarily a rule follower, but I wanted to get through student teaching. This was one of the things. So every day I would walk Gary up to the principal's office. Now, I will say bad teaching was I just started to call it up on the blackboard Gary time, which means who would like to help me, the students, who would like to help me check homework while I walk Gary up to the principal's office. And 2 weeks after I finished student teaching, Gary pulled a knife on a teacher. I never felt at peril the whole time we were together because I saw that child and that child saw me, and I wasn't talking down to him. And the precious time we had was the 5 minutes walking down to the principal's office every day, to the point that was the 5 minutes in his life that I believe he was seen. And that was a pivotal day where I said, I cannot feel this much pain for each one of these 23 students in each one of these 5 classes. That me being selfish. Me relating to piano all those years. I was able to start a theater, and now I would say in the beginning, I never used my education degree. And one by one, especially my APCO would say, you use it every day. And so every day when I push my apprentices to be great, when I push my staff to be great, when I believe we have to have rigor, not everything is loosey-goosey. It cannot be everything is loosey-goosey. Every day with that rigor, there is excellence. And every day that there is excellence, I hope that this child is walking around on the earth with somebody who saw him for more than 5 minutes a day.
To be successful, you have to go through some hard stuff, right? Just goes with the territory. So I'm very curious from all of you, especially in today's dynamic, what strategies have you found most effective in navigating, I will say, male power structures and advocating for yourself and other women in the workplace?
I'm Triana Arnold James, president of Georgia National Organization for Women, and also the founder for the Susan Jolly Foundation. And I would say the strategy that I used, because right after high school, I spent some time at Morris Brown College, then I went straight into the military. And realizing that I'm in a man's world where I wasn't wanted as a Black woman, as a woman, period, that I wasn't wanted. I trained with the military police in the beginning, so I knew I wasn't wanted. And so I became my own advocate. Number one, realizing where I was. Number 2, being my own advocate. Number 3, speaking up. My grandmother and my mom have instilled in me a closed mouth don't get fed. And so if you don't speak up for you, if you don't become an advocate for yourself, then nobody else will. You are your best advocate. And so I just learned to stand in my truth, put my shoulders back, and say it is what it is, and speak up for myself and be my advocate. What is it that I want out of what I'm doing now? What is it that I want out of life? What is it that I want out of my family, out of my community, out of my church, out of my business? What is it that I want, and walk in it?
My criticism of the AJC is they cut all their arts reporters. So while you're reading the AJC, if you could write a letter to the editor over and over, that it would be easier for me to run my nonprofit that tells stories about everybody in this room if you actually would cover what we do at the same level of any sports. I love sports, y'all, but I think we have to have some kind of balance. I would say I'm the exact age, and as a white woman, I would say I never have had to fight for anything in my life. Women could get credit cards in the early 70s without a man signing on it. Didn't have to fight for that. I've always had the right to make a personal, private choice about my body. And right now, my mother is in memory care at the Bridge, and I have to do form after form to say that even her x-ray can go to somebody, even her drugs can go to somebody. I don't understand why we aren't demanding that there is no private thing that you need to know about me without signing off on this form, but they have. But I think our male-dominated profession have said we are going to overlook all of these things. I think we just have to go back to our human rights are that privacy is privacy, and we all want that privacy. But just having gone through a life where I didn't have to fight to vote, I didn't have to fight to get a credit card, I didn't have to fight for private health care choices. I am kind of like your 23-year-old daughter, where I'm like, why do I have to fight? So I think what Jan said is exactly right. We have to now know we might have to fight. And we don't have to be mean about it, but we can say, that doesn't look equitable to me if a boy can do this and I can't do that same thing, and I want the same thing. Just even with pay, y'all, why can't you say the pay is this and this is what you'll get, but we know still that we are going into negotiating rooms and we are paying women less than we're paying men. And we should have to be transparent about that. There should be an easy way. So I appreciate the things that you're saying, and that local fight, I think, is important. But I think we have to know the biggest thing is in Australia, everybody has to vote or they are fined. We see a nation that sat out of the one thing that we could do to say this mattered to me. And I just want us to all feel that every dog catcher election, every city council election, every county commission election, every board of education election, just go and fight. Even if you just want to practice writing your name and go into the electronic tabulator, we've got to vote for every single thing.
Each of these remarkable women shared their experiences, insight, and wisdom, highlighting the importance of leadership, resilience, and community impact. Tell me, you have kids and you've learned how to maneuver the parenthood, the wife, and work. Tell us, what is the most joyful thing in balancing all three?
Oh, thank you very much. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak. That is a great question. I think for me, the most balancing thing, the most joyful thing, I think, in balancing being a wife, being a mother, being a professional, is having my children able to see me in real time and understand that, mommy's doing these things, mommy works, daddy works. We're out here, we're serving the community. We are still engaged and we are still very active in their lives, and showing them through what really community service looks like, what servant leadership looks like. My daughter is only 12 and she truly is my little sponge. And to see the pride that she has in the work that I do, that it just crumbles any kind of ceiling over her head, is probably the most satisfying part for me, because she can see for herself, mommy is a mommy, a wife, a lawyer, a boss, doing these things. And to me, it just shows all of my children the world, the sky is the limit. It shows my sons how their father treats me and how he supports me and how they should support their partners when they grow up. And it shows my daughter how to lead and what to expect as well. So that's my
Oh, great. And I have one last question for you. What does this mean today, you being here and sharing your stories, your life with the audience?
It's always an honor to be able to speak to my community. I really believe in reaching back. We cannot get where we are alone. And so having an opportunity to speak on a panel like this with such a wonderful crowd really is beautiful because you never know who needs what word of encouragement. I know I got so much out of this panel from my fellow panelists. So hopefully there's somebody in this audience who got something from what I had to say tonight. You cannot be an island. I truly believe in us needing a village. And so having the opportunity to pour into this village means a great deal to me.
Well, thank you for your time here. And we did learn a lot from you and was inspired by your story. Thank you very much. So what makes your life inspiring to other women?
Well, I think the reason why I'm asked to speak so often in events like these is because as a Caribbean woman, I came to the US 30 some years ago now, and I've been able to join the community and work my way up from very little, just coming here with my few suitcases like everybody else. And now I'm the president of a college. So people always ask me, how did you do that? How did you work up the ranks to become a leader in your community? So wherever I have an opportunity to provide some feedback, some background, some history, some words of inspiration, particularly to young people, I take the opportunity and I say yes. And I try to share whatever kernels of wisdom I might have and what I learned along the way.
Great, thank you. So what does this night mean to you to be honored at this event?
Well, the reason why it's so important is because this is my community. I speak nationally, I speak regionally, I have a lot of opportunities, but to be right here home with my own community, I literally live 3 miles up the street from here, and to support my own city council's work, that's the inspiration for me. It's the service that I get to give, to speak to women who I just walk right past along the street, who I say hello to in the marketplace, so to speak. To have a chance to speak to them, for me, is a privilege. It's not often I get that, to come right into the community in the neighborhood and share. So I'm grateful for that.
Well, great. It was an honor to be here with you today and to learn from you and to get inspired by you being on this panel.
Thanks for having me. My pleasure.
We're here with Ann Carroll Pence, and it was so inspiring to hear her story about how she got her arts theater so well into the community here. So let's hear from Ann Carroll Pence as far as what makes your success in the theater, in this community, so profound for you.
I think the most important thing about Gwinnett is we are the most diverse county in the Southeast. So I like seeing all different perspectives, all different cultures, all different ages, all different backgrounds. And I think that's what makes it great, is that we celebrate every unique story. And that's what theater should do. Every unique story is an important moment for us to create empathy. I had somebody one time say, "What is your agenda? Why do you have this agenda?" And our agenda at the Aurora has always been to be a community of empathy.
Fantastic, great answer. Now, what does it mean for you to be here tonight, sharing your stories with the audience?
Whenever I'm with a bunch of women who are leaders, I take away so much. And so sometimes as leaders, we feel like we're all alone. And you hear, this is what I am part of. This is my community of people that I know are walking that same walk. And so it's such a thrill for me anytime Austin says, we value what you bring to our city, we value what you bring to our county, and we value what you bring to our entire community. So I can never tell a councilman that I'm going to pass on their event, because they are our decision makers.
Well, we are glad that you were here because we did learn a lot from you. So thank you so much, and much success, continued success with the theater.
Thank you so much.
We're here with Triana Arnold James, and she was one of the dynamic speaker that has a little problem with balance. So, well, I would love to ask her to expound more. And what did she learn today that she will take away so she can have more balance in her life?
Well, I learned today that it's possible that I can make the work-life balance happen. And as I said, that on the panel, I've started to say no to a lot of things, events, and things like that. Um, in knowing my boundaries. Okay. And so I've started that in the last couple of years, especially this year. I've cut out a lot of things out of my schedule so that I can make that work life balance. So I'm in the beginning stages, but I'm getting there.
Well, I know that you learned a lot from your panel because everyone was dynamic. Give us a little bit background about the organization that you're with.
Georgia National Organization for Women is one of the state-led chapters for the overall organization now, National Organization for Women, which was formed in 1966. One of our founding partners was Shirley Chisholm, and among several other women. But we started in 1966. We started advocating for Equal Rights Amendment. We started advocating for reproductive justice, racial justice, economic justice, equal pay for equal work, and the LGBTQ plus community, as well as ending violence against women.
Fantastic. Now tell me, what does it mean to be here tonight to share your story with the audience?
You know what? It is amazing to be here tonight among being a woman of influence, because you never know who you're impacting as you go throughout, your life and what you do and what you have a passion for. But to be able to influence others as well as, young people, that's inspiring to me. So I'm revved up and ready to go and fight another day.
Well, we love your energy. We definitely love your energy, and much success with now.
Thank you so much. And I also have the Susan Jolly Foundation, which that's my foundation we debuted this year, and we bring awareness to cervical cancer that is preventable, and the HPV vaccine, getting the HPV vaccine into the arms of young men and girls, young boys and young girls starting at age 9. So we champion that foundation as well.
Is your organization more towards teens, or is it from an age? What age range do you target?
It's an organization for all women, all ages. But as far as the vaccine, we're trying to get it because it's most effective when it's at 9, starting at 9, or even in middle school. It's more effective than to prevent cervical cancer, of course, other than abstinence. So we go around the country bringing awareness to this vaccine and why it's important.
Fantastic. Thank you for all that you do, and much success in everything that you accomplish.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We're here with Marissa Williams, the moderator for this outstanding panel tonight of women. And she is also a very recognizable woman. Let's ask Marissa, give us a little bit about her and her background.
Sure. Well, thank you, first of all, for having me here. It was an exciting event, learned a lot. In terms of my background, so I've always been very passionate about Caribbean culture, promoting our culture in different spaces and places. So I work in radio. I'm a media personality on Authentic Caribbean with Chubb Rock. I also have my own media company called To Be Caribbean, and it's focused on marketing Caribbean creatives, making sure they have competitive presence in the global marketplace. And then my day job is working in a hospital. So I do marketing, direct a team of about 25 in the hospital.
Tell me, how did you prepare your questions to ask one question to all the women? How did you prepare for that?
Girl, well, at first I was off the top of my head, and then I went and I looked at the bios, and I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to cut it. So I did a lot more research, found out about the women themselves and what would be topics that would touch them, and started crafting questions around that customized version of it versus just what a woman's issues these days. So that was my process.
With you having your background, diverse background, and all the women on the panel, did you learn something today from these women?
Oh, did I ever? They were amazing, as you know. And I think each one of them brought a diverse thought to the different questions that came up. So there was no monotony. There was a lot of learning, and from each one of them, I just learned how to expand myself and expand my network and make sure I support my females in my tribe. So yeah.
And then one last question. March is Women's Month. How important was this evening to you to bring this panel and the discussion with everyone?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll be honest. I'm one of those people who don't believe we need a month to celebrate women. So at first I was kind of cynical about it. But in this current climate, we need these things. We need these spaces of celebration. We need to amplify our voices. So I've learned to embrace them and to do my part in making sure that they have a strong presence.
Right. Great night, great answers, great questions, and we appreciate being here. And any last word that you would like to tell the Caribbean audience?
I would say one of the best things I got out of today was about making sure we point our tribe and also giving each other grace. And I think that's something that if each one of us embraces that philosophy, we only become better as a group, as individuals, as a group, as a community. So I would love to share that with this listening audience, just as words of wisdom to take forward.
Thank you so much for tonight, and thank you for being on Caribbean Focus TV.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. I am totally enjoying being here tonight, and we have with us a dynamic woman that's been in the audience. So
Yes.
can you give us what tonight meant to you?
Yes, absolutely. So my name is Kat Hardrick, and I am excited about being here. This is my second time. This is my second time being here, and I love what Councilman Austin Thompson Jr. is doing with recognizing phenomenal women. And what I've learned today is that with the panel, there was one individual who was a white lady. I can't think of her name. But she spoke about how she never had to fight. As a white woman, there were things that she was just privileged, and she was able to be vulnerable in sharing that. And I think if more people would express how privileged they really are, then they can step into the fight with the rest of us who have been oppressed for centuries. And so lend us your whiteness and give us reparations today. We don't have to wait for some federal law. You can do it with your own whiteness. And so I appreciate her transparency and being honest in a room full of Black women. I mean, it was multiple races, but the majority of the push was identifying who we are, the struggles that we have, and how we can collectively overcome those struggles and bring forward the next generation with us. So I do appreciate that. And that really meant a lot to me, because we are human beings, and it's humanity that we're fighting for, not race.
Right. And it's not typically recognized, the struggle that Black women or Black people have endured.
That's right.
Because it's not racism, it's not discrimination. So it was powerful when she said that. This is the first time I've heard that myself. So it was transformative.
Yes.
It was acknowledging that there is a difference and that the struggle for Blacks is completely different from the struggle for white. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yes.
Now tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. Again, my name is Kat Hardrick, and I'm a local activist, and I have a podcast called Conversations with Karen and Kat. And myself and my co-host, we highlight unsung heroes and change agents. So we like to give a person, those individuals, platforms so that they can share information to inform, inspire, and empower our listeners. Because a lot of times people want to get involved, but people don't know how to get involved.
Right.
And people have time, talent, and treasures. They just don't know where to channel that energy so that they can move forward. And what we try to do is give people a platform, such as your platform, this wonderful television show. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And so to give people an opportunity to speak up about what is important to them, because a lot of times people look outside of their community, and we have heroes right here in our own backyard.
Well said. Well said on this night where we're celebrating women.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
You're
having
welcome.
me.
You're welcome. We're here with Marlene Taylor Crawford, Councilwoman of Lawrenceville, and present tonight with Austin Thompson at this fantastic honoring of women.
Yes.
How was tonight impactful for you?
Well, tonight reminds me of the importance of giving honor to the women who have paved the way for me to be here. So it's really important as a leader to make sure that I aspire to inspire others. And tonight is a reminder that we are here because of other people who have, other women who have sacrificed and helped to lead the way for us to be here. So it's very honoring to know that.
What does Women History Month mean to you?
Well, it means to me to reflect back on the women who have sacrificed, who have poured into me for me to be here. It's a reminder that we do not live in a vacuum, that others had to help to encourage us and guide us for us to be successful. And it reminds me that I have to ensure that I pour into another generation of women leaders.
Great answer. The last question to you is, what did you get out of tonight? Was there something that inspired you or made you change a little bit of what you thought, or just encouraged you to do more?
Well, it reminded me that we are all connected in so many different ways. We might come from different backgrounds, but we still have similar connections, and we have to help to uplift each other.
Great answer. Thank you so much for what y'all do here in Lawrenceville, and for tonight. You and Austin are doing some fantastic things there.
Well, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak, and thank you for what you're doing as well.
Thank you. We're here with Dr. Darlene Wilkerson, who is in the audience today. So we want to find out what impacted her with the stories that these women told us today.
Well, I can see there was so many enlightening moments for me tonight. But one thing that I can carry with me is the fact that we had all type of women in the panel.
Right.
And the fact that the suffering of one woman is the suffering of all women. And there was one person who said, until we are all free, we are not free at all.
Correct.
So it's important to know whether you're white, black, Caribbean, you name it, West Indies, if one woman is suffering, you are suffering as well.
Great answer. Now, I haven't asked anyone this question, but being in the audience, there was a talk about the difference between women and men and the roles that men and women play in family. Did you get anything from that impacted you, or some experience that you've had with the differences between a man and a woman?
Yes, the difference between men and women is so obvious, but thank God for now. There was a time when my grandmother could not have a bank card. There was a time when my grandmother needed a man to sign for her to get her driver's license. Now it's over. Now we live in a time where technology is accessible to everyone. As women now, we have our own business. We have our own card. We have our own Zelle, Cash App, you name it. And we are empowering other women to do the same. So the difference between men and women in the family, yes, it exists, but we are overcoming.
Great answer. Thank you so much for being a part of this entire night, and we love to get feedback from the audience, so thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and
You're
thank
welcome.
you for what you do.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm here with Austin Thompson at the 4th Annual Women of Influence and Leadership. This is the 4th year that you've done this. Tell us, what is the significance of this event to you?
The significance to me as a man, to be able to celebrate the accomplishment and to celebrate the achievements of women, and to know that I am helping to tell the stories of these phenomenal ladies who are professionals in their own spaces. As today, we had the president of a college, Dr. Jan Joseph. We had the Solicitor General of Gwinnett County, Lisa Marie Bristol. We had the president of Georgia Now, National Organization for Women. And also we had the artistic director and co-founder of the Aurora Theater, one of the most successful theaters here in the state of Georgia, if not in the U.S. So to have them tell their stories, to create a platform where they can tell their stories and share their experiences as women. And, you know, as we listen to them and how they chronicled their growth and their professional growth and how they ascended from starting out in their field to where they are now, you heard of many of the challenges they overcame of being a woman in a man's space and having the challenge of getting that equal recognition as a person, as a professional, not as a woman, but as a professional. So for me, in the fourth year of Women of Influence in leadership is significant, you know, as a man, as an ally of women, as a person who believes in equal rights and fairness for women, right? And as we are here in this month, Women's History Month, and for a day in the month where we acknowledge the achievements and success of women in the global community, you know, it's important to know that we have women who are forging forward and being intentional and unapologetic about moving their careers forward, whether it's in the military, whether it's in science, technology, engineering, and math, whether it's in law, whether it's in education, whether it's in the medical field, you name it. Women are occupying significant positions in many of these spaces. Their stories need to be heard, and young girls need to look up to these women, right? And also, there's nothing wrong with a man looking up to a woman who is successful in these spaces. You know, there are many women I look up to, you know, who are commanding significant roles, you know. So for me, the significance is having the opportunity to create a platform where these women can tell their stories and share their experiences and let people know, hey, I'm human just like you. I'm human just like you. I'm ambitious. I'm intentional with what I do. And yes, sometimes people don't look at them favorably because they dare to be different. They dare to be bold and ambitious, right? But they have the courage to step out on faith. They have the courage to step up and do what they feel is necessary, not just for them, but for other young ladies and other young women coming up behind them.
Wow. There were so many stories here tonight, so many stories of diversity, so many struggles, so many strengths, so many wins, so many successes. What will you take away tonight from the stories that you heard from the diversity of women on the panel?
I think Solicitor General Lisa Marie Bristol told a poignant story about going into law school pregnant and coming out of law school pregnant. And it shows that no matter what challenge you have, right? Because, you know, some people were telling her, you sure you can do it? You sure you can get through law school in that condition, whatever? And she showed. She demonstrated that, yes, I am a woman. I am a woman who has to deal with being a woman, you know, being pregnant, while still pursuing law school. And there should be nothing wrong with that, because men don't get questioned, right, about the things that you would think that are challenging them. Men don't get questioned about these things. They don't get second guessed. They don't get looked at side-eyed, you know. But women have to deal with these things. And even though they know the spaces in which they are operating, they continue to exist. They continue to strive for excellence. And that's the important message that we got today, that regardless of what we go through, regardless of who we are, that's coming from the women who are on the panel, we are still doing what we have to do because we're ambitious and we have a vision. We have a desire and we're determined to succeed. And that's the story we got from the women today.
One last question and
Sure.
We're here Women's History Month, and you're from the Caribbean. We're in Caribbean Focus TV, and it seemed as if a lot of the panels, people on the panel, not everyone, but a lot of them were from the Caribbean. How did you select the women that you invited here tonight?
Yeah. So these are women that I know and I work with. For instance, Dr. Jan Joseph, there's a lot that I have done with Georgia Gwinnett College. I know her story, I know her background, and I know the challenges she had taking Georgia Gwinnett College through the pandemic, right? And making sure that staff members were not laid off, students did not, get discouraged, whatever. But there was a lot that was going on at that time, and she held strong and she held that college together. Lisa Marie Bristol, I knew her before she ran for office, right? Like I said, we spent 2 hours at Panera Bread on 124, breaking the ice, getting to know one another. Ann Carol Pence, she is the director and co-founder at the Aurora Theater. I do a lot at the Aurora Theater, and I go to some of the shows that they have there, right? Triana Arnold James, who is the president of the National Organization for Women here in Georgia Now, she is the only one of the 4 that I didn't know, right? So what I did was, since this is Women's History Month, and since we're talking about justice and equality for women, we're talking about the women's suffrage movement and going from women's suffrage to the accomplishments that women have had today, I needed someone who represented that. And that was Triana Arnold James. And I thank her for being here. And she's an Army veteran, and we support our troops. We support those who have fought and represented this country, right? And Marissa Williams, who is the moderator tonight. Marissa and I go way back. So these except for Triana James, these are women that I've known for a long time. Last year, same thing. When I did the international panel with the entrepreneur from Uganda, the entrepreneur from Sierra Leone, the entrepreneur from South Africa by way of Zimbabwe, and Trinidad and Tobago, I have known these women. So I know their stories. I wanted them to come and tell their stories. Next year, there will be a combination of women I've known and I've worked with, and then some that I really don't know, but I will study their stories. I'll do my research and make sure I get them to come on the panel. But they're all influential and phenomenal in their own way, and I want to make sure that these women have a platform, have an additional platform, because I know there are other platforms, but I want to be able, as a man, to know that I am working on behalf of these ladies because they are phenomenal, they are influential, they are inspirational, and they are examples for other young women to follow.
Okay, I do have one last question.
Yes.
You're in a room of majority women. How did you feel being among women?
I don't feel uneasy at all. I really don't.
Intimidated?
I do not feel intimidated, no. I can walk into a room with people unlike me and be comfortable. And I guess, I don't know, I look at it as, okay, something to learn, something new, right? But not intimidated at all. Like I said, I grew up in a family full of strong women, Guyanese, South American. I have women in my family, married into my family, who are from Trinidad and Tobago. I'm Guyanese, right? Our family is Guyanese, from Guyana. Trinidad, from Jamaica, from Haiti, from Barbados, from Grenada, St. Lucia, so I come up in a very strong South American Caribbean family. Mm-hmm. So I guess the groundings were set then. I wasn't intimidated then, and I'm not intimidated now.
And that is from our Austin Thompson. Thank you for a great evening today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming out.
We're here at the 4th Annual Women of Influence in Leadership. We have 2 dynamic women that I'm standing next to, and it was inspiring to hear her story, how she got her school going from over 20 years now?
It's 16 years.
16 years.
16 years of the school being outside of my home, but when I was at home, it was about 10, 15 more years.
So tell us a little bit background about your school and how you got it started.
Well, actually, it started in my home, like many, many years ago. And we moved from my home, we moved the studio outside of my house in 2009, right in the middle of a recession.
Wow.
We didn't have a lot of money, my husband and I, but I had 3 beautiful kids. And so we decided to, let's go do this. And we opened the school up, and it just took off for the first 2 years. And I think we started off with about 25 students and 2 teachers. Today we have over 60 plus instructors and close to 1,200 students today.
Okay, tell us the name of your school and what do you do at the school?
It's Lawrenceville Swanee School of Music. I'm the owner and director there. We teach piano, guitar, violin, viola, string instruments. We do more than music lessons. We do life lessons. We were awarded the Best of Gwinnett 10 years in a row and the National Music School of the Year in 2021. We won the MOTSE Most Outstanding Organization in 2023. It is so much going on at our school. It's multicultural. Kids are everywhere. And our most important thing is love is our motto and great musicianship is our goal. And we're just trying to help kids be really confident as they grow, because we also teach special populations.
Okay, great.
So, yeah.
You spoke about one special person and gave us some great accolade about this one special
Oh my
person.
goodness,
Can you refresh my memory of what you said?
Girl, I got married to this amazing man, and we've been together for 42 years. So we work together in our music school.
Okay.
Everything that has to do with music is me, and everything that has to do with money is him.
Okay.
So we just kind of roll like that, and we're
Okay.
partners in crime. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. Now, who is standing next to you?
This is my beautiful daughter. And I'll let her tell you a little bit about herself. But Cynthia started with me from the very beginning when we used to put flyers on our mailboxes. And then we would invite people to come into my home for music lessons.
Okay.
And today she's doing a lot of marketing and so many other things with the school. I wouldn't have the school I have if it wasn't for her. She
Okay.
can tell you some of the stuff she does. I don't even know what she's doing. She's so amazing.
Okay, you are amazing because you almost had me in tears when you recited Maya Angelou and Still I Rise. And I'm getting teary now. Tell us what you do and what made you say that poem today.
So I'm a performance poet, and I've been performing poetry for 10 years. And what I love to do is use poetry as a vehicle for creativity, inspiration, and hope. Because I feel as if so many people are struggling and isolated, and I believe that the creative arts leads to healing. And so today at this conference for women, my goal was to recite a poem by Maya Angelou entitled Still I Rise. Me as a women leader, I'm a survivor of abuse and sexual trauma. And because of that, that Still I Rise poem inspired me to rise up and elevate myself to be able to make a difference in my community. And so what I wanted to do today was inspire women everywhere to also rise up. No matter what challenge you're facing, no matter what you're going through, you can make a difference if you don't give up. And with my mom, what we do is I work a lot with her on the media aspect of the music school. So for example, it was exciting to be published by NBC Universal, and my mom was in a nationwide commercial featuring her business. And so what I help my mom do is take the music school to the next level of not just music lessons, but life lessons, and doing that through media, doing it through podcasts, doing it through other ways that we can serve the community in broader ways.
Wow. That was phenomenal, and you both are two phenomenal women. What, being here tonight, what does that mean to you? We'll start with you.
For me, I think, I'll let you hold that, but for me, it was really good to be around a lot of like-minded women. And we share the same struggles, the same victories. And I think so many times, so many people, so many women out there try to do life alone.
Right.
And you really can't make it just by yourself. So today, to me, was really good to just put my arms around a lot of women, touch them, and say, hey, I want to get to know you.
Yes.
And I got some new relationships. And I thought, now I can go have lunch with her and let her grow me and let her help me. And then whatever she needs from me, I can give it to her. So I love these type of events where you can really grow and connect with other women.
Yes, yes. And for you?
So what I love about this event is they've talked about what young leaders can do in their community. And so often when we see things happening on the news or in our environments and we're stressed out about it, we think we can't do anything. But they were talking about how when we do small changes with great courage, you never know what's possible. And so I loved how they said, are you voting? Are you out in your community doing initiatives to work with your councilman, to work with your city to actually create change? And so for me, this event was inspiring because it was telling me we're not a victim to our circumstances, but we can rise up and be the change of our circumstances.
Wow.
And I believe I needed to hear that today.
That was powerful. At Caribbean Focus TV, we are dedicated to serving our community by bringing visibility to events like these, platforms that empower, educate, and uplift as we celebrate the achievement of women, not just during Women's History Month, but all year round. Our commitment is to provide a space where stories are told, voices are heard, and our Caribbean and multicultural communities stay informed and connected.
You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides. Just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. Today, woman of influence, let's rise.
We encourage you to continue supporting these incredible women and initiatives that drive positive change. And of course, don't forget to stay connected with us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, share, comment, and hit that notification bell so you never miss any update. Visit our website at CaribbeanFocus.tv and sign up for our newsletter to stay informed on all upcoming events and community highlights. Stay focused.